Fall is all about cozy comforts, but when you're prioritizing your health, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. With Hero Bread, you can enjoy all your fall favorites because they're made with Hero Bread sliced bread loaves, tortillas, bagels, dinner rolls, and more. Try their all-new Hero Noodles with 12 grams of protein and just 80 calories. So skip replacing every carb with cauliflower and indulge in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner time favorites while still hitting your goals. From breakfast bagels and meal prepped enchiladas to mouth-watering burgers and cheesy noodles. You won't believe Hero Bread's options have 0 to 5 grams net carbs and are high fiber from the taste and texture. They've even got small batch drops of indulgent favorites like the popular Hero Croissant. And right now, Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's fall25 at hero.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains 2 to 18 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
Good job throughout Europe. Red actually, the name red comes from 17th century Eastern European literature. The word red, means passion, means love. And when it came over to the translation, so, when you think about Valentine's Day, that isn't a Hallmark greeting card thing, the whole idea behind passion and love. It actually is from, Eastern European literature. So they did a phenomenal job growing the business country after country after country. And then, the U.S. is, that's the diamond. That's the top of the mountain. Our U.S. market.
Sit back and relax and get ready for another exclusive episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast with Lopez.
This episode is brought to you by ERC. Let me ask you a question. Did you have a business during the pandemic with 5 or more employees? If the answer is yes, you might be leaving money on the table. All you gotta do is go to ercbankroll.com and you can get your money. The best part about this, it only takes 5 minutes or less to see if you qualify. Go to ercbankroll.com and put in your name, email address, answer 2 questions, click on the submit button, and you're done. It's that simple. And get your money. So don't wait. Go to ercbankroll.com and get the money for your business today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Lopez. So like and share this episode. P.S. by the way, I would appreciate it if you left me a 5-star review in iTunes or wherever you're listening to the show right now. I would love to hear your feedback. Love it or hate it. You're the reason why I keep doing this show. So I want to hear what you think, what you have to say, any show topic, ideas. I want to hear all about it. So send me an email by going to my website at kingofcashflowwebsites.com or just go to support at kingofcashflowwebsites.com. Either or. So with that being said, today's guest is the definition of what an entrepreneur is. This man is an award-winning entrepreneur. He's worked with some of the big brands like Kellogg's. He's built and sold not 1, not 2 companies, 5 companies. He's started 5 startups, cashed out all 5 of them, and then he moved on and became a partner, and now he's president of a company called Red Chocolate, and in North America, and you can find this chocolate candy all across America and even on military bases. He has a background in finance, business, marketing, sales, operations, business management, along with private equity and investments and acquisitions with multiple companies. You know, like I said, he's the definition of what an entrepreneur is. And he's the reason why I strive to bring on the best of the best people within their acquired field. My special guest today is Glenn Gardone. Welcome to the show. So, where you from?
So I live right outside of Philly. I'm about an hour outside of Philly, PA.
Yeah, I've been to Philly quite a few times. I actually like it there.
You know what? It's got a great culture. It's got a great vibe. I mean, it's, the birthplace of our nation. A lot of history, great food. There's a lot a lot of positives to it. And now we've got a really big hole in I-95 that we're trying to work out, as I'm sure you heard. So, we're working on that. So, but other than that, it's, I've been here for probably about 20 years now, a little over 20 years. And, whenever I get the chance, I go down there, just hang out and have some good food and people watch and everything else. So I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I'm an East Coast person, but I've had the fortune of living in a lot of different places throughout the world, actually.
Gotcha. So how'd you get started in business?
So I come from a very, very blue collar family. My success to me meant that I had a few bucks in my pocket so I could buy some food if I wanted. Went to college, first in my family to go to college, graduated college. I'm not one of those people that, 18 years old, found their passion. I didn't find my passion until I was in my 20s and had the opportunity to go into the food industry. I was ex-Kellogg, ex-Pepsi, met some great people, loved what I did, got a chance to, on finance, sales, marketing, supply chain, all the different pieces, working with some great people. And that's how I grew my knowledge base, so to speak. So it's not like I spent the first 20 years, 15 years of my business career trying to figure out what I want to do. I did what I had to do. I enjoyed what I did. And every time in all the different situations, I just put it in the back of my head and said, at some point, I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this experience. I'm going to need this knowledge. And about 15 years ago, I decided to, embark on a different role and, being either part of a team or leading that team and building companies and then, building to a certain point and then getting an opportunity to sell them off to other large organizations that can make them bigger and better and do what they wanted to do. So it's been a hell of a run.
Yeah, I see, man. There's a lot of people that say stuff like, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to start a big company. I never wanted to do any of this. I'm not that guy. I'm like you. I had to do what I had to do. The opportunity presented itself, and I took it. But I never grew up and said, "Hey, I want to do videos. I want to learn how to market products." I was never that person at all. So whenever I hear people say that, I'm like, "That's great," but that's not me.
So I've got two boys, and they're grown now, and they both found their passion early in life. So, and I love seeing it because I see their drive and their determination, and everything they're doing is to further themselves and their goals and to get to their goals. So, love seeing it. But myself, growing up, I wasn't surrounded by entrepreneurs. Honestly, I didn't even know how to spell the word entrepreneur. Never mind say that's what I want to do. So all, like I said, I want to do. And throughout my life, success has meant different things, Like I said, when I first started, I wanted a few bucks in my pocket so I could, go enjoy dinner if I wanted to. To me, that was success.
Yeah. I remember when people said entrepreneur back in the day, that was a bad word.
No, I hear you. That is true. I think about some of the quote unquote entrepreneurs I knew growing up. They're probably in prison or dead at this point, but
Yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So what it's like working for like Kellogg's and big companies like that?
So the way that, for me at least, what I do is you got to work with some amazing people, some brilliant people, which is always fun to do. Because I'll tell you, I'm not the smartest guy at the table. I know my limitations. So I got to meet with some and work with some really great people. I got to have some amazing mentors. The processes were in place and had been in place for years. And, you had to stay within those guardrails. So again, they employ tens, hundreds of thousands of people. And those folks, what they do is important to that organization. I'll give you an example. So I had a great mentor at Kellogg. And, I wanted to be the hot shot, working hard, being successful. And, I was moving my career along at Kellogg, and I had a mentor. And he sat me down and he said, Glenn, how long has Kellogg been around before you showed up? I said, it's been around 100 years. He said, how long do you think it's going to be after you leave? I said, probably another 100 years. He said, that's right. So slow down. Don't try to change the world, and understand that this is a collective that's moving the business forward together, that you can't run ahead of everything and be upset because you're so far ahead. It's not how this organization works. It's not how big organizations work. Because again, I was young, I was hungry, I wanted to be successful. And so that really taught me, okay, this is the process, so to speak. So when I got the opportunity to go on my own, then it was at my speed, which was probably 5 times, 6 times, 10 times faster than I was used to going, which I enjoyed, being able to speed up the process. But, at that point, you got to find people that want to go at that same speed with you.
Yeah, that was my experience. I worked for UPS for a couple of years in Atlanta. That was my experience. And people warned me even before I took the job that, hey, all that creative stuff that you do, they don't want any of that. They're going to hire you just for one specific thing and just focus on that, and that's it. And they said, don't overstep your boundaries. Don't be given a lot of extra advice, and they don't want any of that stuff, So, and it turned out to be true. And, that was some good advice,
And that's true. I remember for myself, probably one of the aha moments. I went into a meeting to discuss the meeting we were going to have later on that day. And that was what that meeting was about that I actually, was in. So I said, wow, and that's where it started the light clicked on and said, Glenn, is this really, what you're looking for? At that point, I felt confident in my abilities. And, not to say that, I haven't had my successes and my step backs, but the fact was I took all that experience that I had, that 15 years of experience working with big companies, working with great people, and, turned it into something that I could grow and that I could put my name on it and, be the leader within that organization. And it wasn't the fact that I wanted to lead, that wasn't important to me. It was the opportunity of proving it to myself, I guess is the best way to put it. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do what I thought I could do. And so, the biggest difference again back then was, you didn't have that quote unquote safety net. You got that big company safety net, and, I remember when I first started out, I was talking to a person who was very successful in business, and he told me, he said, Glenn, just so you know, all your employers are going to love Fridays. Back then we got paid on Fridays, because they're always going to get paid on Fridays. You're going to get paid on Tuesday. You're going to get paid on Wednesday. You're going to get paid when there's money left over. So that's a different mentality. And so it's true. When we first started out, it was, 12, 15-hour days. It was working on weekends. It was, doing things at the house, and the, family wanted to do something else. I'm like, guys, I got to do something. I got to do this for the business, or, I've got to travel and I'm going to miss, this. And, that luckily my family looked at it and said, okay, it's a sacrifice Dad is making, but he's making it for us because he wants to, be successful for us. And so, you do what you got to do, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. So with all your experience, what made you say, hey, I'm going to start my own company. Not
So-
only I'm going to start my own company, I'm going to go into one of the most competitive industries in North America.
Yeah,
Chocolate.
the chocolate category is insane. Yeah, the chocolate category is insane. Absolutely. And it was one of those things where actually the opportunity came to me. So, I had been with an organization and we had sold it. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was traveling 200,000 miles a year on a plane. And I was exhausted. And I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do. And we're owned by two families when I first came on. Red Chocolate was in about 17 countries. And I get a phone call out of the blue from one of the families. He says, look, your name's popped up a bunch again. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've got a pretty good name in the industry. And so they said, would you meet with us? We want to talk to you. I said, of course, absolutely. Now, I had known who Red Chocolate was. See, I'm a type 2 diabetic, okay? Probably got there because I ate too much, sugar chocolate when I was younger. But the fact is, I can't have sugar now, okay? It just wreaks havoc on my body. And, I want to have a happy, long life. So cut out all sugars long ago. And so when I was traveling, I actually happened to be in London at Heathrow Airport. And I saw Red Chocolate, and I saw no sugar added, non-GMO, gluten-free. So it had the things that I was looking for. So I said, all right. So I picked up a bar, and I was sitting waiting for my flight, and I tried a little bit. I went, oh, this is too good, man. There's no way this is no sugar added. So I had a serving of the chocolate, which is about a third. You look at it, and these chocolate bars are pretty damn big. I had a third of this bar. I checked my blood glucose, and it hadn't changed. I went, holy cow.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is nice. So I actually went back to W.H. Smith and grabbed all of the inventory they had, which was like 9 bars. So I bought all the bars, threw them in my briefcase, and I took them home because to me, it was like an aha moment. So every time I traveled in Europe, I would go see where I could find Red Chocolate. And if I found it, I'd buy whatever inventory there was. And so getting this call, it's that whole, the stars and moon align, whatever you want to call it in your own world. And so I said, sure enough, for me, it was going to be fun just because they had no idea I knew who they were. And I love the fact I was going to get to meet the people that actually put this beautiful product in the world. And so I went, and we had a 4-hour meeting. And for the first 3.5 hours, I explained to them why they didn't want to come into the U.S. And that's because of exactly what you said. Extremely competitive, cutthroat, shelf, so on, all the different things. I said, you got a beautiful business. If you come in here and you're not prepared for it, you're going to go bankrupt. Because I've seen it happen to great companies. They come in and they, the U.S. consumer, which is an amazing consumer, but everywhere else in the world, all they see are the dollar signs. They don't understand the intricacies of actually building a business in the U.S. and how tough it is. And so we talked, like I said, in about 3.5 hours into it. One of the folks that was part of the other family said, are you done? I said, yeah, I'm done. They said, so when do you want to start? And I just shook my head laughing and said, you know what, guys, you must know something I don't know. So this could be fun. And if you're interested in it, let's build a partnership here. And that's when I became one of the partners of Red. And I brought it to the U.S. So fast forward 4 years later, we're the #1 chocolate sold on the Home Shopping Network. We're in 12,000 retail store doors across America. We're in 28 countries. So we've really grown and exploded. And the reason is, as you know, we're a great product. I don't care how good your marketing is. I don't care how good your supply chain is. I don't care how good I am. Ultimately, the product's got to taste good. Yeah. The product tastes amazing. Yeah. So that's how I got involved with Red. It went from personal to professional, back to personal again. Because what's great is, as a type 2 diabetic, within 10 feet of me, I probably got 25 different types of red chocolate that we've been working on. It's funny, I happen to pop up this one, which is our new one, our oat milk. This is the 123rd recipe.
Damn.
We went through 122 iterations before we decided it was going to be this. And, now we're proud and it's amazing. It's doing phenomenal. But even, the one we launched last year, which was our blonde chocolate, which is a caramelized white chocolate, which you've had, we don't want to come out with the same old, because the whole idea is, the families that own us are master chocolate makers. So they want to take what is available and make something different, something unique, something the world hasn't seen. That's the whole idea behind red chocolate. So, yes, we've got our milk. Yes, we've got our dark. But when you start to look at the other ones, whether it be the almond orange, whether it be the hazelnut and macadamia, the whole idea is for somebody like myself to be able to enjoy and indulge again.
Yeah. So were you a diabetic before you came on board?
Yeah. I've been a diabetic for probably a decade, or over a decade. So I joined the team 4 years ago. So yeah, I've had the diabetes issue for a long time. It runs in my family. And I got it a little earlier, and really, so red is bought 87% of the time by female, or head of household. And it's funny because I always say women are smarter than men, because see, women understand the health benefits. You can indulge, just make it smart indulgence. Men, we don't understand that. We just want to indulge.
Yeah.
And then we get to be 50, and you go see the doctor, and the doctor's like, you know what? You better start taking care of yourself, or you're gonna have a stroke. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my God, we gotta. So that's what happened to me. I was in my late 40s, and the doctor said, you know what? I hope you enjoyed all that great food all around the world, because now it's going to come crashing down. And that's exactly what happened. So, I've got an amazing wife of 22 years. She can eat whatever she wants because she eats in moderation. She knows how she should. Me, on the other hand, I can't have that piece of cheesecake. I'm not allowed to.
They say a wise man told me, you pay now or pay later.
It is so true. Yeah. And believe me, if you pay later, you constantly pay. So you're better off just taking care of it in the beginning.
Yeah. So what's it like getting the taste of the candy that you want? What's that process like? Because you said it's taking you like 27 recipes. So what's that process like?
So actually it was 122 for it. So what we do is we start out with what we call an ideation session. So we decide on what it is we'd like to accomplish. So you understand during the path of what your ultimate goal was. So, you think about caramel. Who doesn't like a chocolate with caramel? And so, when we talk about our red blonde, which is caramelized white chocolate, I want to come out with something that had caramel in it. But caramel is sugar. We're no sugar added. So it wasn't like we were going to come out with something different and say, okay, we're going to have sugar now. That's not what we do. We got to stay true to who we are. And so we started to try to figure out ways that we can actually craft the product and still stay true to what our goals are and what our mission is. So, as a company, we have 11 global patents. And it's from the production to ingredient style to everything in between. And so this happens to be our 11th patent. And what we've done is we've figured out a way to have a caramel that's used from milk, the lactose, the sugars, natural sugars, because my body can take a natural sugar. Like I can eat grapes, which have sugar in them. Mm-hmm. I just can't eat 100 of them. You know what I mean? Not that you'd want to, but my point is, my body can digest natural sugars. My body can digest erythritol or maltitol. Stevia for me, I don't like the taste. That's why we don't use it, because I just think it tastes funky. But that's just me. I just don't like it. And since I run it, I did get to decide what goes in. And so what we do is once we have what we want to do, then becomes the process of trying to figure out how it can be done. It's like, if you think about it, we want to go to Mars. Okay, now how do we get there? And that's what you read all the articles and all those different things on how they're trying to get to that point to go to Mars. Well, we knew we wanted a caramel chocolate. How do we get there with no sugar? Nobody had ever done it. There was nothing like it. And that's why when you eat blonde, there's literally nothing like it in the world. Nothing like it in the world. And we were able to get to where we wanted to go. And it was, again, trial and error. We call it kitchen samples. So within our facility, we have a smaller facility. And that facility, you can actually produce, a small run where, our other facility, that's where we do our everyday products and things. So what we do is we produce a small one so we can understand the flow through, so we can understand what the finished good looks like. Because again, for us, you remember, being a European company, it starts with the visual. We call it the experience. So, somebody like yourself buys a product. for you, it's a value. And what we mean by value is not money-wise. If I line up 10 people, the value proposition is actually different for all 10, or it could be 7 different ones. Somebody can say, I like the price. Okay, that's their value proposition. Other people say, you know what? I'm a diabetic. I can't have sugar. I don't want sugar. That's my value proposition. Another person could say, you know what? I'm looking for a clean ingredient label. Red has that. That's their value proposition. So it's all these different things and a combination thereof that gives you that value proposition. So what we try to do is, when we're building our goal, is to stay within that value proposition. And so then we go through, like I said, the process of the different, and we'll do a run and we'll say, it tastes gritty. And so you have to redo the process, or I don't like the flavoring of it, too much orange if it's one of our products, orange, or not enough nut. And so you tweak and you constantly tweak, you come up with what you consider yourself to be something you can be proud of. And so every time we launch a product, it's something the organization can be proud of.
Gotcha. So I know you have a website online and everything. I know people get access to it, but what stores are you in?
So the great thing is, if you do go to the website, which is red-chocolate.com, I'll do a little plug for that. But if you go there, and I tell people always go there because there's a couple of reasons. Number one, you're going to learn about the history of Red. Number two, there's a store finder. So you just got to type in your zip code and you will find stores near you. But we're in Kroger's, we're in Winn-Dixie. Like I said, if you just wanted to watch us on TV about every 6 weeks, we're on the Home Shopping Network. We're the top chocolate sold on the Home Shopping Network. They're a great partner of ours. We love working with them. As a matter of fact, July 4th, we'll be on TV again. You'll see us. And then we're on again throughout July and August and so on and so forth. But we are in the drug stores throughout the United States. There are 12,000 stores that carry our product. So go on the store finder list, type in your zip, you'll have your list of stores, you can find it. But also, if you go on, which is something I love, and it's called our Chef Series. And I like to tell people about it, because what we do is, well, don't get me wrong, eat our chocolate, enjoy, love it, it's awesome. But on the Chef Series, we have actually chefs from throughout the world that actually take the Red product and add it to different meals. So there's like a beautiful mole sauce. There's these sweet potato bombs. There's all different kinds, whether it be a main meal or side dishes or even some desserts. There's a chocolate mousse that's awesome. And so, you get a chance to see the chefs do it. And they're really short videos, so it's cool. So you get a chance to see it. You've got all the ingredients. Everything is done. So again, if you go to red-chocolate.com, that's the best spot to start, because from there, you'll learn everything you need to know. And if you want to reach out to me, go to the About Us, and all my contact information is there. I'm available and I talk to people all day long.
So, and what's the process like getting your product into these stores? Because I like Shark Tank, right?
Right.
I like Shark Tank, and I see these people come on Shark Tank, and I know that it's been a long road for them. These people been through they probably got ripped off once, lost money, almost bankrupt, and by the time they make it to Shark Tank, it's pretty much like, oh man, we made it. So what's that process like?
It's a good question, actually. So what happens is we have what are called category managers. If you're talking about retail grocery, we'll just take that avenue, because you've got retail, like, Red is also in every Air Force and Army exchange base in the world. We're about to be in Navy. So there are different ways to go towards the different areas that we sell it. So if you take retail grocery, what happens is you meet with the category manager or the category buyer, and you will walk them through, what the product is. And, I try to explain to people, especially when they're thinking, well, I make a great tomato sauce, I can sell it every day. I get those questions all the time. And what I tell people is, look, there's 1,000 great tomato sauces. What makes yours different? And the fact that you've got your picture on it, it's not going to make people buy it unless you look like a big tomato. You know what I mean? So what people should do is they have to understand what their role is within the category, be able to explain that quickly, and then behind it, having the tools necessary to be able to have consumers know about it. Because the retailer, that shelf space is very, very expensive, for them to run it every day, and they've got their profitability they have to make. And, so they need to know that if this product is going on my shelf, what are you, as the manufacturer, as the distributor, what are you going to do to help me get it off? So that could be everything from, what are you doing on your social media channels? We talk to about 3 million people every week on, Insta, TikTok, Facebook. We use them all, and we enjoy it because it's a good conversation flow for us, because we want to know what the hell people think of us. We want to know what they're talking about. We want to know how we can help them. You think about food. You go out tonight and you buy yourself a new shirt. That's a very personal thing because it's something you chose. What's even more personal is what you put inside your body. So by doing that, that's why we are on that most personal level that you can be. People are not only inviting us into their life, they're inviting us into their body. They're inviting us into their memories. So we want to know, are we doing well? Are we doing what we should do? What can we do better? So, between the social media channels, between the investment that you do to be able to get it to the consumer's eyes, and that's probably one of the biggest changes that's happened post-COVID. So pre-COVID, we have what's called a shopping experience. And so you'd go into one of your local grocery stores, and you'd see beautiful displays, and you'd see different things, and the experience that lights your eyes up. Like, what kind of lighting are they using over the fruit area? What are they doing, with some of the general merchandise? Holiday themes, those kind of things. That's part of the shopping experience. Well, now, fast forward years later, people aren't spending as much time as they used to in retail. So therefore, you, meaning the manufacturer, need to get the message out before they even walk into the store, because you're not getting them over. Because pre-COVID, you had about 20 seconds, literally 20 seconds for a consumer to stop, look, and go, that interests me, and to pick it up. Because if you think about the thousands of products that you walk past every single day, and you think about something like Red, which the world has never seen, if you're not used to it, and I just put it on the shelf, and it's a shelf somebody like me never walked down, because again, can't have sugar, so when I go down the candy aisle, now all of a sudden I'm hearing about Red, I'm hearing that this is a no sugar addict, and it's in my candy aisle. Now I've got a reason. So it takes a lot of work, and there's a lot of people behind it, within my marketing group and my supply chain and my sales organization, to make sure that A, the message gets out, B, the consumer hears the message and says, okay, yeah, this makes sense to me. And then 3, ultimately the consumer walking into the retail store and picking up that product, because you need that. So it's not just a matter of walking in, to your local Kroger, and I call it throwing up on a person's shoes, saying, hey, this is my new tomato sauce. What do you think? What can I get on shelf? It doesn't work that way. So it's a process, but it's a process that works and has worked for many years. You just have to understand what is needed to be able to be successful.
Great, man. So you've sold 5 companies. So what's it like? What happens what's that process like? Because I've actually I worked with a company that got bought out, and they pretty much left us hanging. Let us hanging. Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what was weird. Now everyone knew the cutoff date of, hey, the new ownership and staff is coming in. They're gonna take over, and we're gonna be gone. We won't be here tomorrow. So all the employees knew that, right?
Right.
But no one really wanted to communicate. Say, hey, what's gonna happen with us? So, am I gonna be working here next week? I don't know, so I don't know, so what's that? What's that like? I don't know.
That is crappy leadership. That's what it sounds like for you. It sounds like terrible leadership. So the very first time, I was actually employee number 3. It was the person I helped build the business plan, and when they were ready to go, I told them the kind of person they'd want to go hire. This was a friend of mine who I had worked with, and she had this great idea. And she called me and said, "Look, I got an idea. Can you help me with a business plan?" I said, "Sure, no problem." So I helped her build the business plan. I helped her get in touch with the manufacturing groups that she needed to work with. And so when I got her ready, it was her and it was a person that had the money behind her. So they were employee 1 and 2, and told them who I would hire, and got in my car and drove off. And I was probably halfway home when I get a phone call from her. "Hey, we found the perfect person." And now at this point, I'm with an extremely large corporation. I've got over $1 billion worth of responsibility. I had 174 people reporting into me at some varying level. So, successful from a corporate standpoint. And she said, "We found the perfect person." I said, "My God, that was quick. Who is it? Do I know him?" She laughed. She said, "Yeah, it's you." And I went, "Oh, you'll never be able to afford me." She goes, "Oh, you're right. I won't be able to afford you, but I'll give you equity." And I went, "Huh, interesting." I was like, "Well, I got to talk it over with my wife." I had 2 young kids at the time. It's a huge step, brother. I got to make sure there's food on the table, man. I was a single income family. And so I called my wife and I was telling her about it. She goes, "Well, what do you think of the product?" I went, "Oh, I love the idea. I think it's a great product. And, I've seen the finished products. They're awesome." She's like, "Glenn, do it." I said, "Hey, I'm not going to have, that safety net, and this thing, I could be completely wrong." She said, "Glenn, you're going to work 100 hours a week to make it successful. I have no doubt. Why don't you just do it and prove to yourself that you can do it?" And I said, "You know what? If you're willing to let me try this, all right." She goes, "Do it. We're fine. We're going to be just fine." And I had this amazing woman say that to me, and I went, "You know what? She believes me, man. I should believe me." And I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it because I'm putting myself back in the car at that point. And so I called and I said, "Look, I'm ready. Let's do it." And she said, "Turn around. We want to start right now." So I turned around. We signed the agreement. 18 months later, we were doing about 80 million in sales, and we get an offer from a PE team, private equity team. And she called me and said, "Hey, look, we got an offer." I said, "Yeah, I know. I heard." I said, "What are we going to do?" And she said, "I don't know. We're going through it." She goes, "What do you think?" I said, "This is your baby. I'm willing to rock and roll. I'm having fun. But if you want to sell, you sell." Now, for me, I stood to have a pretty nice payday. I'm not going to lie to you. But, again, what she wanted to do was fine with me. And so they decided to sell. So I remember sitting at the table, and one of the PE groups, one of the members of the PE group said, "So, Glenn, what are you going to do now?" I said, "I don't know. I didn't expect to be out of a job in 18 months. That wasn't really my plan." And he said, "Well, if you're going to be in private equity, know this. When you come in, it's going to be fast and quick if you're successful. So you better make sure it's a soft landing." And I went, and I kept that in my head at all times. And I said, "All right, I got to remember this." So after that, I was more prepared as an individual to be able to sell an organization. Our last organization, everybody within the organization, the group that bought us was going to keep it the way it was. But everybody within our organization, I demanded it and expected to have a payout. And so there were people from all walks that were with the organization. And anybody that was there a year or more received a nice bonus check, because I wanted them to know this was sold because of the work that everybody did. It wasn't because of the 4 people sitting in the offices over there. It was because of the 100 people that worked every single day, 8 hours, 10 hours a day to get things done. So everybody could take pride and ownership. And that's the way I try to run businesses. I've got a saying for myself, and it's part of my leadership mentality. You have a seat at the table. And what I mean by that is your opinion matters and your opinion counts, okay? But understand that, you can give your opinion. I may take 1% of it. I may take 100% of it. I may say that's a great idea, but we can't do it. And we move on. Don't think it wasn't heard. It just means based on everything that's happening, we can't move forward fully with that idea. We've been in some meetings, and it's funny. I was just looking for something. Here we go. So with every product that we ship out, we actually have a card. And what you do is you scan it on the back with your cell phone, and we ask a couple of questions. Did it arrive the way you wanted, when you wanted, where'd you hear about us, so on and so forth. And that idea came from one of our marketing folks. I went, "That's a phenomenal idea. Let's rock and roll it." A week later, we had this going in. So there you go. And the idea being that, that came, a lot of smart minds, but nobody thought about it. And this one person who has a really good mind, who's starting new within, the corporate world, said, "Hey, how about if we do this?" I went, "That's an awesome idea. Let's do it." because it made sense for what our mission is. So, you know, that's how I make sure that when we build. Now, this is a labor of love. This is a legacy for me. You know, I want to get this brand here in America up to well over $100 million, which I know we can. And we're not going to sell, because there's going to be a new leadership group in here, making it bigger and bigger and bigger, because this is Red. At this point, it's like one of my kids. This is a lot more personal than selling widget A or widget B.
Yeah. So before you came on board, how were Red Chocolate, how were they doing?
So they were in about, like I said, about 17, 18 countries prior to me joining. They did a really good job throughout Europe. Red, actually, the name Red comes from 17th century Eastern European literature. The word red, you know, means passion, means love. And when it came over to the translation, so, you know, when you think about Valentine's Day, that isn't a Hallmark greeting card thing. The whole red, the whole idea behind passion and love, it actually is from, you know, Eastern European literature. So they did a phenomenal job growing the business country after country after country. And then, you know, the U.S. is, you know, that's the diamond. That's the top of the mountain. You know, our U.S. market is massive, especially within our category.
Yeah.
The chocolate category, there's a lot of chocolate is bought every single day and eaten by tens and hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah, man, I highly recommend everybody go get it. I got it. I got mine. You get yours. So, hey, last question. How'd you get involved with WWE? What the commercial? How?
This is awesome. So the WWE, their corporate headquarters is in Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm originally from Stamford, Connecticut, and so we used to always see all the wrestlers around, you know, because they were cool people. Like, you know, back in the day, Hulk Hogan, I remember driving by and he'd be mowing his lawn, and, you know, kids would be running up and the guy could be like in the middle of doing 1,000 things, but he'd stop and sign every signature, man. And, you know, it's just, that was the kind of thing that, you know, they were always around. They were stars, you know, in this little town, but they were so cool and so nice. And so my brother actually at that point owned restaurants, and his restaurant was catering a movie event for Hulk Hogan called No Holds Barred. And this is so long ago. And so again, I was invited to go in because they had tickets. They said, "Hey, why don't you come?" I was like, "Great, I'd love to come see a movie for free, especially world premiere, red carpet, the whole 9 yards. This is cool." So I went in, watched the movie. You know, they had Randy Macho Man Savage was there, and Lovely Elizabeth, all these guys, you know, all these wrestlers from, you know, the 80s and stuff. And it was, you know, it was really cool. Well, I was walking out, and again, you know, you got to think Miami Vice. Yes, I was wearing a white T-shirt with a hot pink, you know, undershirt. You know what I mean? It was the 80s. You know, you're supposed to look cool. Now I look back and I'm embarrassed, but it is what it is. And so I was walking out of the theater, and Mean Gene Okerlund looks at me and goes, "Hot pink for a hot movie. Come on over here." And so I walked over, and they did a live event with me talking to him about, you know, the movie and what I thought about the movie and the scenes I liked and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, shook my hand and off I left, right? And so I was like, that's cool, you know, what the heck, you know, 12 people saw it, big deal. And so I'm actually, fast forward about 2 weeks later, I'm standing at the beach at the ice cream truck, and there's this little kid, and he's staring at me. This kid's pointing at me. He's talking to his mom, and he's pointing at me. And I'm like, is there something on my face? You know, what? Why is this kid pointing at me? What's going on? And the mom walks over and goes, "Excuse me." She said, "I'm sorry, my son's pointing." I'm like, no problem. Anything wrong? She's like, "No, he was just excited because he saw you on TV this morning." I'm like, I don't think he saw me on TV this morning. She's like, "No, you were on a commercial for the WWE." And I went, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, there was a commercial on." And she told me story, and I started laughing. I tell you what, I got my 15 minutes of fame, because I would go places and be like, "I saw you on TV. I saw you on TV." And so that was my commercial for the WWE. So I don't know if being on an airplane that got hit by lightning twice was more exciting, or being in a commercial for the WWE. Two varying degrees, but both really exciting. So yeah, that was my commercial for the WWE, man. And the nice thing is, I actually still have it on VHS. So I show it to my boys when they were probably, I don't know, 10. I said, your old man used to be pretty cool. And I put the tape in it. And the first thing they say is, "You're wearing a hot pink shirt, Dad?" And I went, "It was the 80s, man. Everybody wore it."
Yeah. So again, I highly recommend everybody go check out redchocolate.com. I got mine, I got mine, I got all of them. So, I highly recommend you go check it out. And any last words?
You know what? Thank you very much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. I love your podcast. I listen to them. I always try to get information out of them because it helps me in my career and in my life. So thank you for what you do. And, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. All links will be found in the show notes. Until next time, we're out. Peace.